Okay, now I am making a speed loader, but I'm not just making any speed loader. I'm making the one based off the template from Louis C3 to make a polycarbonate spacer for my speed loaders. So it seemed like a cool idea, and I just got a drill press, so I want to test it out. So basically I printed out a couple online. It comes with 2 on the document, but I just copied it 2 more times so that I have 6, just so that I don't have to print it out multiple times. But the basic idea is that you go on your scroll saw, you cut these pieces out, and then you drill these out on a drill press or with a hand drill. And since I got the drill press, I wanted to test it out, so that's what I'm doing. So first thing you're going to need is 2 equal lengths of CPVC or your barreling material of choice. I use my pipe cutter to get 2 that are exactly the same length. You're going to need either a small piece or a scrap piece of your polycarbonate, and this just happens to be a scrap piece that would fit 2 of these. And you're going to need your printout of your spacers. Now the first step is going to be to cut these out and either glue or tape them on to your polycarbonate. I will probably glue mine, so that's probably the better of the 2 options. So cut these out, glue them on here, and then we can get started from there. I couldn't find any cheaper glue, so instead of using like my epoxy or any other super glue that I use for my blasters, I just put some tape on it for right now. So basically the first step, you could either do it both ways. Because these are so small, I'm going to drill first and then scroll saw, because I don't really have anywhere to, if I scroll sawed it out first, I wouldn't have anywhere to grab with the clamp. So I'm going to take it over to the drill press and I'll get started. Forgot to turn my overhead light on when I started filming this, so I guess now is as good a time as any to start. So now that I've got this, I'm going to get it all set up. Now I recommend, for actually using the full-size bit, which in this case is 5/8 because I'm using some PVC as my barreling material, I always recommend using a pilot bit, which is a smaller bit, to basically center your hole over this small one. So I usually use a 1/8 inch bit, so I'm going to start out with that one, and basically I'm going to clamp this down to my working station over a scrap piece of wood so I don't damage the table for the drill press. But that's pretty much it. I mean, I'm going to use the 1/8 inch bit to do these 4 holes, so I'm going to get started now and I'll show you what it looks like after. Okay, now I'm all lined up. I have my laser all centered there. It's hard to see the other one with a clamp, but basically that's it. So I'm just going to start drilling out these holes. I'll show the first one on film just to show you what it looks like. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm going to do that the other 3 times, but centering that hole is extremely important because that's what's going to guide your larger bit. So I'm going to keep going with the other 3 and then I'll show you the next step. Okay, now that I have all 4 pilot holes drilled, I have the 5/8 bit ready to go. It's a spade bit, however you could use any normal bit. And you see how that pilot hole will guide the center right in. That's exactly what you want, so that's why making the pilot hole is very important. I'm going to cut out these larger holes for the CPVC now, and then I'm going to scroll saw out this, and I'll show you it as I go along. Okay, now that spade bit pretty much destroyed the paper. However, if I take it off, I'll probably have a tough time realigning it, so I'm going to leave it like this because the scroll saw will just continue the destruction. But the holes came out pretty nice. As you can tell, they're off centered a little bit, so then that one's angled a little bit that way and that one's a little bit that way, so that they could fit on the scrap piece. Basically what I'm going to do now is I'm going to follow the basic outline and then maybe touch it up with the Dremel if needed. So I'm going to get over my scroll saw now and start cutting out those 2 pieces. When I'm done, I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, so my plan kind of failed, and when I went to go cut it in half, all of the tape came off, and I just eventually went to peel it all off. However, as you could tell, those match up perfectly, so I'm going to just cut them down to the same size now, and then I'll finish it up. Okay, now this is the finished product. What I ended up doing was taking my 2 pieces of CPVC, putting them through the spacers that I just finished, adding some hot glue in between them on both sides, and then wrapping it with E-tape just to give it a cleaner look. And I think it turned out pretty nice. I mean, comparatively to like a normal speed loader, they look similar, only this one's extremely sturdy. I don't see it breaking anytime soon. So I left a little bit on both sides just so that I can poke my dart in on each side, plop it onto a pistol, because this is only like a 6-inch speed loader, and then using both fairly quickly. I think that this concept would be really cool for the really long speed loaders, like 12 inches or 16 inches. So, but it works pretty nicely for these small ones, and this one's extremely tough, so I think it should last a really long time, especially if the weather gets hot and some people have their hot glue melt. I've never had that happen to me. However, I'm ready for it. So that's pretty much how to make a speed loader with polycarbonate spacers. So thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it.